What if I told you that loneliness isn't just painful? It's lethal. That feeling of emptiness when no one calls, no one visits, no one even notices you've gone quiet. Turns out it's not just emotional, it's physical. Scientists now say chronic loneliness can harm your heart, weaken your immune system, and even shorten your life. Yes, loneliness can literally make you sick. We used to think it was all in our heads. But now we know it's in your blood, your hormones, your brain chemistry. It raises cortisol levels, your stress hormone, day after day, until your body starts to think it's under attack. Your blood pressure rises, your sleep breaks down, inflammation increases, your body starts aging faster. And the scariest part, you might not even notice it happening. You don't need to be completely alone to feel this way. Even surrounded by people, family, neighbors, nurses. If no one really sees you, really connects with you, the body still registers it as isolation. And it reacts harshly. Doctors are calling it the loneliness epidemic. And it's hitting older adults the hardest. Not because we're weak, but because we've lived long enough to know what real connection used to feel like, and how painful its absence can be. So if you've been feeling more tired, more anxious, or just off, don't ignore it. This video is for you. We're going to explore how loneliness affects the body, why it's not your fault, and most importantly, what small, daily changes can begin to reverse the damage and bring your health back to life. When you're lonely, your body doesn't just feel sad, it feels unsafe. Imagine your brain is like a watchtower, always scanning the horizon for danger. In ancient times, isolation meant vulnerability. If you were alone, it meant you were cut off from your tribe. No protection, no help, no survival. That old survival instinct hasn't gone away. In fact, it's still hardwired into your brain today. So when you feel disconnected, your brain reacts as if you're under threat, even if there's no real danger in sight. Sends out stress signals. Your adrenal glands release cortisol. Your heart rate increases. Your muscles tighten. Your immune system goes on high alert. First, this response is helpful. It sharpens you, helps you react. But over time, when loneliness becomes chronic, that same response starts to damage you. Your blood vessels stiffen. Your immune system becomes confused, attacking healthy tissue. You sleep less deeply. You eat more but feel less satisfied. You may notice weight gain, fatigue, or memory loss, not realizing it's loneliness behind the curtain, pulling the strings. It's like a smoke alarm that won't shut off. And every day it rings, your body grows a little more worn down. But here's what most people don't know. This process can begin even if you're not living alone. You could be in a retirement home, with family, around people all day. But if you don't feel seen, heard, or valued, your body still interprets it as isolation. That's why small connections matter. Kind word, phone call, shared joke. These aren't small things, they're medicine. Every moment of connection tells your brain, you're not alone. You're safe. So don't be ashamed if you've been feeling off. You're not too sensitive. You're not imagining it. Your body is responding exactly as it was designed to, trying to protect you. The good news, you can begin to retrain it. Just like a muscle, connection can be rebuilt. It won't happen overnight, but with the right habits, ones we'll talk about soon, you can calm that alarm. You can begin to heal. And it all starts with understanding that this isn't a weakness. It's biology. It's human. And you're far from the only one feeling it. You might not even call it loneliness. Not at first. Maybe it starts with a little fatigue. You tell yourself you're just tired, maybe didn't sleep well. Then your appetite changes. Food doesn't taste the same. You either forget to eat or you keep eating, hoping to fill something that hunger isn't really about. Next, your memory gets a little foggy. You find yourself walking into rooms and forgetting why. Misplacing things more often. You laugh it off, just getting old. You say, but deep down it feels like something else. That ache in your chest. That sudden wave of anxiety that comes out of nowhere. That feeling that no one really notices if you've come or gone today. That's not just aging. That's the quiet storm of loneliness, building inside your nervous system. You see, loneliness doesn't always scream. It whispers. It disguises itself as other problems. Back pain, low energy, irritation, even inflammation. Studies have shown that people who feel chronically lonely are more likely to suffer from heart disease, high blood pressure, Alzheimer's, and even a weakened immune response. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because their body is stuck in survival mode. It's as if your body is trying to wave a flag that says, "I need connection," but it doesn't know how else to say it, so it shows up in symptoms. Maybe you've even gone to the doctor about it. They ran the test. Everything looked normal, and yet something still feels off. That's because loneliness doesn't show up on an X-ray. There's no blood test for heartbreak. But that doesn't mean it's not real. In fact, it's one of the most biologically measurable forms of emotional pain we know. And it's incredibly common, especially in older adults. When routines shift, when children grow up, when partners pass on or health declines, it's easy to feel like the world is moving on without you. But here's the part we forget. Loneliness thrives in silence. It grows when we feel ashamed of it, when we don't talk about it, when we pretend we're fine. So if anything in this resonates with you, if any of these symptoms sound familiar, I want you to know, it's not just in your head. You're not alone in feeling this way. And more importantly, there is a way forward. The next chapters in this video aren't just about understanding the problem. They're about giving you real, practical ways to start healing from it. Because while loneliness can harm us, connection, even small, quiet acts of connection, can save us. And that healing begins with this one small step. Recognizing what loneliness looks like in your life. Just get out of the house more. Go join a club. You should call someone. Well-meaning advice, right? You've probably heard it 100 times. Maybe even said it to someone else. But here's the truth no one really talks about. It's not that simple anymore. When you're feeling lonely, truly lonely, the last thing you want to do is force yourself into a room full of strangers. The thought of joining a club can feel like climbing a mountain barefoot. It's not about being lazy or antisocial. It's about the emotional weight you're already carrying, because when your heart is heavy, even the smallest steps feel enormous. People say, just call a friend. But what if your closest friends have moved away, or passed on, or aren't the kind of people you feel safe being vulnerable with anymore? The world has changed, and for many older adults, it feels like it moved on without you. Families are busier than ever. Conversations are shorter. Screens have replaced voices. And suddenly you find yourself wondering, where do I even fit anymore? That's why the old advice doesn't always help. It assumes you're starting from a place of strength. It forgets that loneliness often comes with anxiety, shame, even fear of rejection. It forgets how exhausting it is to try again when you've been let down before. And worst of all, it makes people feel like they're failing, like if they're still lonely, it must be their fault. But it's not your fault. You're not broken. You're human. And humans need something deeper than surface-level solutions. We don't just need company. We need connection. Real, meaningful connection that makes us feel seen, heard, and valued. So no, joining a book club might not be the magic answer. And calling someone just to talk might not be enough when you're aching inside. What we really need is a different kind of roadmap. One that doesn't ignore the weight of loneliness but works with it. One that starts with healing, with self-compassion, and with tiny, intentional steps that rebuild your confidence to reach out again. That's what the rest of this video is here to offer. If traditional advice hasn't worked for you, it's not because you've failed. It's because you need something that actually fits the shape of your life now. When you're feeling alone, truly deeply alone, it's tempting to believe that nothing will ever change unless something big happens. Big event, big shift, a miracle maybe. But in reality, healing from loneliness doesn't start with something big. It starts with something small. Tiny habits, gentle acts, simple rituals that, over time, begin to soften the ache. One of the first things you can do is begin your morning with intention. Not with a TV blaring or scrolling your phone, but by sitting with a cup of tea or coffee by a window. Let the light hit your face. Let yourself feel the world waking up with you. Even this quiet act of noticing, tells your nervous system, You are still connected. Another small habit. Speak out loud. It might sound silly, but loneliness often steals our voice. We go hours, sometimes days, without speaking to another soul. But you can bring your voice back into the room. Talk to your pet. Read a passage from a book out loud. Greet yourself in the mirror. It's not about pretending someone is there. It's about reminding your body that you still matter, and you still exist in relationship to this world. Touch also matters. Loneliness doesn't just live in your thoughts. It lives in your skin. So wrap yourself in a warm blanket. Soak your hands in warm water. Place a hand over your own heart and breathe. These tiny physical gestures signal to your brain, I am here. I am cared for. Try writing one line a day in a notebook. Not a journal filled with pressure. Just one line. Maybe something you saw, something you felt, something you remembered. Over time, this becomes a record not just of your days, but of your presence, of your participation in the world. And perhaps the most healing habit of all. Notice beauty. When you're lonely, the world seems gray, but beauty is still out there. In the way the sunlight touches the wall, in the sound of birds, in the way your tea steams in the mug. Notice. Let your senses pull you gently back to life. These habits won't erase the pain overnight, but they are anchors. They are small, sacred rituals that tell your mind and body, you're still part of this world. You still belong. Loneliness doesn't always need a grand solution. Sometimes it just needs you, showing up for yourself in small, steady ways. One cup of tea, one breath, one moment of noticing. In the next part, we'll talk about how loneliness actually rewires your brain and body, and why these small habits are far more powerful than they seem. But for now, let this be your gentle reminder. Healing doesn't come all at once. Comes in whispers, in habits, in the way you hold space for yourself day by day. You may think loneliness is just a feeling, passing emotion, something you can distract yourself from with a TV show, a nap, or a cup of tea. But the truth is, chronic loneliness isn't just emotional, it's physical. It rewires your body in ways that are subtle and dangerous. When you're alone for long stretches of time, your brain starts to go into self-protection mode. Evolution wired us that way. In ancient times, being alone meant being at risk. No tribe, no safety. So your brain begins to see the world as more threatening. You become more alert, more sensitive to potential dangers, even if they're not real. Your stress hormones, especially cortisol, start to rise. First, this helps you stay on guard. But over time, that constant stress begins to wear down your immune system. Your body starts to produce more inflammation, which is linked to heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, and even cancer. Your ability to fight off infections weakens. You may notice more colds, more aches, more fatigue. Your sleep changes too. You might not even realize it, but loneliness can cause you to sleep lighter, wake up more often, and feel unrest. Your body doesn't trust it's safe enough to fully let go. And without deep, restorative sleep, your memory suffers. Your mood dips. Your body has less time to heal. Then there's your heart. Studies have shown that loneliness increases your risk of heart disease as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. 15 cigarettes. Just from feeling unseen, unloved, unconnected. Even your brain structure starts to shift. Regions involved in social thinking and emotional regulation can shrink from lack of use. And when the brain doesn't get the stimulation of conversation, laughter, or shared experience, it starts to retreat inward. That can lead to depression, cognitive decline, even early signs of dementia. Loneliness doesn't whisper. It etches itself into your biology, quietly but relentlessly. But here's the good news. The body can also heal. Your brain, heart, and immune system are incredibly resilient if you give them what they need. Connection doesn't always mean a crowded room. Sometimes it's a phone call, a walk with a neighbor, a weekly coffee group, volunteer shift, even a shared smile at the market. Your brain registers those moments as proof that you're safe, that you belong, that you matter. And once your brain gets the message that you're no longer alone in the world, Your body begins to exhale. Cortisol lowers. Sleep improves. Inflammation eases. The heart slows its pace. You begin to come back to life. Loneliness might be one of the most dangerous things we don't talk enough about. But it is not irreversible. You're not broken. Your body is waiting eagerly to heal. In the next part, we'll talk about the small steps you can take to begin reversing the physical effects of loneliness. You don't have to change everything overnight. But you do have to begin. And you can begin today. Healing doesn't look like fireworks. It doesn't feel like a sudden sunrise where everything becomes clear. Most days, healing feels like making tea for one and not feeling the ache in your chest while doing it. Feels like brushing your hair in the morning, even when no one is there to see it. Feels like choosing to sit by the window instead of in the dark. When we talk about loneliness and recovery, it's easy to imagine some magical turning point. A dramatic reunion, a new group of friends, fresh start. But in reality, healing from loneliness is quiet, subtle. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like healing until much later. When you suddenly realize the silence doesn't hurt as much. You begin to notice things again. The way the sun filters through the curtains. The smell of toast. A neighbor's wave. These tiny details start to matter. They become threads. And slowly, stitch by stitch, you start to feel a little more connected to the world around you. One of the most surprising parts of healing is that it often starts when you stop fighting the loneliness and start accepting it. Not giving up to it, but learning to sit beside it like an old companion. You stop demanding it go away. You stop measuring your days by how full or empty they are. Instead, you begin to see them as what they are, life. And life, even when quiet, is still life. There might be days where you feel pulled back, where the bed feels too heavy, where the world feels far away. That's okay. Healing doesn't mean never hurting again. It means learning that you can live through the hurt and still show up tomorrow. It means knowing your worth doesn't shrink just because the room is empty. Healing might mean reaching out to someone. Not to pour your heart out, but just to say, hi. It might mean walking to the mailbox every day, even if there's nothing in it, just to remind your body that you're still in motion. It might mean looking in the mirror and saying, I'm still here, and meaning it. And sometimes, healing means letting go of who you thought you had to be loved. It means making space for the version of you that is older, wiser, softer, and still worthy of connection. If you're listening to this now, and your days feel quiet, or your heart feels forgotten, know this. You are already healing. Just by noticing. Just by being open to change. Just by sitting here right now and breathing through it. The next and final part of this journey will explore how to turn healing into daily action. Real habits that gently rebuild your life one step at a time. Because healing isn't a destination. It's the way we choose to walk through the world. Even when we feel alone. Healing begins in whispers. And rebuilding a life worth living often starts with the smallest of choices. Not grand gestures, not sweeping changes, but tiny, gentle habits that remind your heart, you are still here and you still matter. It might be waking up at the same time each morning, not because you have somewhere to be, but because rhythm brings stability. Or making your bed, not for anyone else to see, but as a quiet act of self-respect. These are not chores, they're anchors. It might be stepping outside to feel the morning sun on your face, even for 30 seconds. Letting your skin remember the warmth of the world. Letting your lungs stretch open with the air of something fresh, something possible. Another habit. Writing down 3 things you noticed today. A laugh from someone across the street, the taste of your tea, a bird landing on your windowsill. These aren't random moments. They are your moments. When you name them, you claim them. And little by little, life feels less like something happening to you. And more like something you're quietly participating in again. Movement helps too. You don't have to go to a gym or start running. Just move. Stretch your arms while the kettle boils. Walk to the corner and back. Put on music and sway just for you. The body remembers connection, even when the mind forgets. Motion rewires emotion. And when you're ready, connect. Not with everyone, not all at once. Maybe it's just smiling at the same cashier each week. Maybe it's joining a small book club or calling someone you've been meaning to. Or maybe it's just letting someone help you carry your groceries and not rushing to say, "I've got it." These are tiny steps, but they're steps nonetheless. And some days the most powerful habit is this: being kind to yourself when you feel like you're falling behind. Because healing and rebuilding aren't races, they're seasons. And like seasons, they come quietly, change slowly, and bring their gifts when the time is right. So, if you've made it to the end of this video, here's something I want you to remember. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're rebuilding. And that's a beautiful, brave thing to do. And if this message spoke to your heart, if it made you pause, reflect, or feel a little less alone, consider sharing it with someone who might need it too. Sometimes, one gentle voice can light up another's darkness. We're building a small community here, a quiet corner of the internet where honesty, healing, and hope live. If you'd like to walk with us on this journey, feel free to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. We read every word. And we're honored to have you here. Because even in loneliness, there can be connection. Even in quiet, there can be strength. And even in broken places, new life grows.